Okay, then we are discussing Unit 3, page 12. Farhad, write down Unit 3, page 12. You have to write this paragraph there. After writing forms of communication, you have to write this paragraph there. The communication forms are identified in English as forms of communication. The communication forms are defined in English as forms of communication. In this, it is important to look at the meaning of the word form. According to the Great Sinhala Dictionary, සිංහලෙන් කියනවා මහා සිංහල ශබ්දකෝෂය කියලා. Form means his own image, style, shape or look. Second meaning, nature, status, quality, information, content, news, message, description. All these meanings have been given in Great Sinhala Dictionary for the word form, 1962 publication. There are several forms of communication. These include verbal, non-verbal, oral, audio, visual, written, performing, formal, and informal forms of communication. These communication forms can be developed as a skill. Thereby, it leads to a successful communication. So you have to write down this paragraph at the beginning of this note. Now we are discussing verbal communication. Communication carried out with the use of sound patterns and language pattern is identified as verbal communication. Sound pattern and language pattern. The role of verbal communication. Number one, teaching, instructing, or providing guidance. So we are using verbal communication for teaching, instructing, and providing guidance. Number two, exchange of information between people. Number three, maintaining human relationships. Number four, presenting what appears in the mind. What is in your mind, we can't see. You have to present that through verbal communication. Number five, creating individual personality and accomplishment of various tasks. We all have a personality. Others can identify our personality through verbal communication. And we can accomplish various tasks through verbal communication. You go to a shop, you tell them what you want to buy. That is also verbal communication. Verbal communication skills. Verbal communication is important to a communicator in order to present something forcefully. For this, he or she should be skilled in expanding the vocabulary. If you want to be a good verbal communicator, you must expand your vocabulary by reading a lot, by watching a lot of speeches, listening to a lot of speeches, by watching news and all. You can expand your vocabulary. Number two, developing his knowledge that is based on ideas and information. You must have some ideas and information inside your head. Then only you can discuss that in verbal communication. Number three, prior preparation. You must have a prior preparation if you want to engage in verbal communication. You can engage in verbal communication without a preparation also, but if you have a prior preparation, that will be an advantage. Number four, further developing the presentation skills. There are presentation skills you have to develop in verbal communication. Number five, using appropriate language. If the receiver knows only Tamil, you have to speak in Tamil. If the receiver knows only English, you have to speak in English. Building a personal identity and self-identity. When you listen to a radio program, if you listen to a radio program 5 days a week, the same radio program, you identify that this one is that announcer. This announcer's name is Aravind. This female announcer's name is Surangi or something. Okay, you identify the person by his or her voice. So that means they develop a personal identity in verbal communication. Next one, responsible use of words. When you are in verbal communication, you must use verbs responsibly. Number two, non-verbal communication. Without the use of written or spoken words, communication of information by an individual to another individual is non-verbal communication. You don't use verbs here. Non-verbal communication is divided mainly into sign language or body language. These deaf and dumb people, they use sign language, right? Our facial expressions, our postures and gestures belong to body language. All those things belong to non-verbal communication. Audio signs and visual signs are used for sign language. Green light, red light of the traffic light are visual signs, right? The bell sound of the bus is an audio sign. All types of symbols, numbers, pictures, images, posters, sounds, poster art, cartoons, and maps. Those also belong to sign language. There are several common visual signs and audio signs around the world that can be easily grasped and remembered. Do not smoke sign. Wherever you go in this world, when you see that sign, you identify it. Do not smoke sign. Male and female images. Male and female images on washrooms you can identify anywhere in the world. Road signs, light signals, drum sounds, siren sounds of the ship, paintings, cartoons, etc. are some of them. So these are visual signs, right? And audio signs. All of them belong to non-verbal communication. The body language includes facial expressions, postures, gestures, touch, dancing styles, and expressions, etc. The meaning communicated by body language could vary from country to country and from ethnic group to ethnic group. For example, meet two individuals and ask how each of them would communicate best wishes. Some people communicate best wishes by shaking hand. Some people hug each other. Some people use that eye bowang sign. To engage in a successful communication activity, nonverbal communication that includes sign language and body language can be used fruitfully. Oral communication. Generating students, you write these things at home. We don't know when the school will be started. So you have to write these things. A to Z. In order. You have to write these things in order, these theory notes. Then you can write revision notes. Then you have to do 5 assignments. SBA, 5 SBA. Right? You have a lot of work to do. Postpone your work. Complete your notes on time. Complete your theory notes. Then complete your revision notes. Then hand over the SBA. That's all. Then you can get an A for media. Oral communication. Generating a variety of meanings according to the words and sound released from the mouth is oral communication. In verbal communication, you used verbs, right? In non-verbal communication, sometimes you can use some sounds, siren sound and all. Oral communication means you use words and sounds released from the mouth. That is the difference between oral communication and verbal communication. In most day-to-day communication situations, we engage in oral communication by mutually exchanging ideas through the use of language. Verbal communication is different from oral communication. In verbal communication, the words are used either with sound or in written form, right? In verbal communication, we speak words or we write words. But in oral communication, it is limited to what is said through the mouth, right? Oral communication, we use the mouth. Oral communication should be used with politeness, attraction, and complete meaning. Oral communication is a skill that can be developed by an individual. By being a good listener, one could develop one's oral communication skills. If you want to develop your oral communication skills, first of all, you must develop your listening skills. Listen to other speakers. Then you can develop your oral communication skills. Oral communication is done easily and automatically. When you are writing something, you have to think and write. But oral communication, you do that automatically, easily. It's natural. In written communication, we use grammar. But in oral communication, we don't have to use that much of grammar. It's natural. Others can easily understand. There are some illiterate people who don't have the literacy. There are people who can't write or read letters and words. So they can't understand written communication. But everyone can understand oral communication. Words can be selected according to the receiver. You are A-level students. So we use more advanced words more than all your subjects because you are A-level students. But we don't use language we used in the BA degree. We don't use that with you because you are not still that much of advanced. We have to select the words according to the receiver. Help can be obtained through the non-verbal communication. That means you can use non-verbal communication with oral communication. The communicator, the presenter, is always physically present. In written communication also, when I write a letter to Farhad, I post that, then he receives that letter after 2-3 days, then I am not physically present there. Only my letter is there. So that is written communication. But in oral communication, the communicator and the presenter are always physically present. Oral communication may differ according to the field of receivers, audience. Field of receivers means audience. For an example, engaging in oral communication with a member of the clergy will differ from engaging in oral communication with a child. You speak to a child, little child, in one way. Baba, something like that. But you don't use that language when speaking to a clergy, Buddhist monk, Maulavi or someone. You don't use that language. You have to use the language respectfully. Oral communication skills are necessary for the development of literacy, thinking, and learning. Before learning to write Sinhala, you learn to speak Sinhala. Before learning to write Tamil, you learn to speak Tamil. Therefore, oral communication is necessary for the development of literacy, thinking and learning. You think and learn through oral communication. Only written communication is not enough. I send you all the theory notes and all the revision notes through WhatsApp. You write down that on a book. That is also necessary, reading and writing. But you must listen to me also. Then only you can remember this very well, 100%. Oral communication is necessary for thinking and learning. Following are some of the factors that help the development of oral communication skills. Number 1, listening, reading. If you read, you can develop your vocabulary and other words knowledge, grammar knowledge. Then you can speak. Following expert speakers. There are expert speakers. There are Toastmasters clubs and all. You can listen to those speakers through YouTube and develop your oral communication skills. Obtaining speech training. How to train your voice, how to use the mic and all. These things you learn. If you learn these things, you can develop your oral communication skills. Addressing an individual person. First of all, you must address an individual person. Talk to someone individually. Then you can talk to 3-4 people. Then you can talk to hundreds and thousands of people. Addressing a group. Loudly articulating and pronouncing. Pronounce the word loudly. Then you can develop your oral communication. Presenting different speech forms. For example, drama dialogues, reported speech, etc. You can learn some drama dialogues, some film dialogues, and repeat that. Then also you can develop your oral communication skills. Next, performing communication. This means engaging in as an activity or profession in performing. Performing means presenting, describing, portrayal of character, and creating as stated in the Sinhala dictionary. There's a Sinhala dictionary written by Vijayatunga Harishchandra. There he gives the meaning. Performing means presenting, describing, portrayal of character, and creating as stated in the Sinhala dictionary. Through acting, certain meanings could be communicated. Performing communication means specially acting. The primitive man as well as the contemporary man have used acting to carry out his communication activities. Primitive man didn't know a language. So if he meets a tiger or an elephant in the jungle, how can he communicate that to his family members after he returns to his cave? He does that by acting, by performing communication. Now also we can use this performing communication. It is very important to use performing in an appropriate manner as it helps communication become very effective. Anyone's communication can become effective if he knows performing communication. Performing helps greatly individuals engage politely in their day-to-day conversation as well as in all communication activities of individuals. Performing can be made powerfully by the use of equipment like mics and all, design, stage design, and clothing. This lion walks by four legs. In Singhabahu drama, there is a character called the lion. That lion doesn't have to walk with four legs, right? He can walk using the two legs because he is dressed as the lion. Then people will see, this is a lion. People won't ask, where is your other two legs? They don't ask. Following are some of the factors that contribute to the development of performing skills. Observing occasions of performing. You can watch a drama or something, or stage drama, a street drama, a teledrama, cinema. You can watch. Then you can imitate some characters. You can develop your performing skills by imitating others. Understanding how, according to different situations, performing varies. A speaker's story, the teacher's role, an announcer's role, an actor's role, the nature of members of a debating team. You must understand these things, how these things differ. Now I am speaking here as a teacher. One can be, you are listening radio, you can listen to an announcer, or you can watch an announcer on television. You can watch a speaker's story on YouTube. You can watch an actor's role in cinema or teledrama. You can watch the nature of the members of a debating team. So you can learn this performing. Presenting different communication opportunities through performing. The written communication. Presenting information through language and symbols is written communication. Presenting information through language and symbols is written communication. Written communication, for an example, includes letters, advertisements, circulars, reports, newspapers, magazines. Written communication is a creative activity. Literacy is essential for written communication. You must know a language, how to read and write a language if you want to do written communication. In written communication, information is presented to the people who can read the written content. If you don't know letters, you can listen to me. If you don't know letters, you can read and understand the written content. Compared to oral communication, written communication can be developed in an organized manner. Oral communication, you don't need that much of organized manner. You can speak whatever you want. But in written communication, there is an organized manner. When writing a letter, first of all, you must write the address, then date, then the topic, things like that. There is an order in written communication. Written communication creates the possibility to store information for future use. Question came for A-level exam. They asked, when did the storing of information begin? Storing of information began with the creation of written communication, right? Written communication is required for tasks in education, creative writing, and institutional and legal activities. In education, you must write these notes I send you. Then you must write in exams. Creative writing, newspaper articles, advertisements, radio drama scripts. These are creative writing. You need written communication there. Institutional activities. Our school is an institute. Those activities are done in written form most of the time. Legal activities, legal agreement, you have to write down. So you need written communication. If written communication is not accurately written, it has the risk of being misunderstood. The following are some of the factors that help develop written communication skills. Number 1, identify writing skills. If you want to develop your written communication skill, you must identify writing skills of other writers. Literary skills, reading books. After reading books, you can develop your written communication skills. Writing written documents clearly and in an organized manner. Write your words clearly. Clear handwriting. Keep some space between your letters. Right? You have to keep space of one line. If you take apple, between A and P, you should be able to draw another line. Right? If you write dog is barking, between dog and is, you should be able to write another letter. Keep some space. Right? Write them clearly and in an organized manner. Developing creative skills. All your creative skills develop if you know written communication. And if you have creative skills, you can develop written communication skills. Audio communication. Listening to sound source based any type of transmission can be called audio communication. Audio communication is sound or voice produced by living or inanimate objects or media. What happens here is to understand the idea by listening to something. There are natural sounds, artificial sounds, music, silence, discussions, poetry, lectures, speeches. All these things belong to audio communication. If one person recites a folk poem, you listen to that audio communication. There is a discussion on television, political discussion, you listen to that audio communication. Artificial sounds in a radio, when the wind is blowing, they broadcast an artificial sound, right? Natural sounds, the natural sound of the rain. Lectures, now you are listening to my lecture, that is audio communication. Speeches, audio communication. As audio communication is connected to the technology, diverse forms of audio devices are used, and many audio conversation methods have also been developed. CDs, listening books. After this class, you go to Google and type listening books. Then you can find some listening books. You don't have to read that. They will read the book. You can listen. Music discs and so on are some of these devices, audio devices. Through a person's voice, we can not only comprehend his capability, personality, vision, thinking, vigor, and even spiritual qualities. Openness. If a person is open, right? When a person is speaking, some people speak very slowly, very slow voice, not very high voice, and they speak very carefully. They break the sentence. Always they break the sentence, right? Now here I break the sentence because you can understand me. I limit my speed of speaking so you can understand me very well. The people who speak very slowly day to day life, they are not that much of open. They keep some secrets, right? So you can understand those things by those spiritual qualities by listening to a person's voice. If a person speaks in a very speed, he doesn't keep any secret with him. Sincerity. You can understand some of these things through a person's voice. Audio communication has been used as a powerful communication tool by the ancient man. When they want to chase away an elephant, they use audio communication. They scream. Everyone scream at that elephant or someone. Then that animal runs away. Following are some of the factors that lead to the development of audio communication. Number one, listening attentively. First of all, you must listen to other people. Then you can develop your audio communication. Distinguishing different types of voices. You should be able to distinguish female voice from male voice, animal's voice from human voice. Studying different audio communication situations. Listen to the radio news, listen to radio dramas, listen to books on Google. Then you can develop your audio communication skills by using different sounds and engaging in creative activities. Students, I am very happy that all of you joined. We have 7 students in media in our 12 arts class. So all of them join the class every day. Some people get late. However, I know that all of you join the class every day. I'm very happy about that. But do the writing part also. Don't miss that. Don't take this as a holiday. Do your job. If you take these Japanese people, they always do their duty to the maximum level they can. Students identify that their main duty is learning. In Japan, there is a student, a female student. I heard that story. I read that on internet. That girl travels 20 kilometers by train to the school. I also travel 20 kilometers by bus. But that train has only one compartment. Because only that girl travels in that train. For an example, we will say Boralaskamo to Maradana. There are 20 kilometers. For an example, Japan, Boralaskamo to Japanese Maradana. In that railway road, only that girl travels. Other people don't travel in that railway road. Those kind of things happen. If you take this Kolonna area, People don't travel that much at night. I used to work there, that Colonna area. When I leave that place at 6 7 p.m., it's very difficult to find a bus. So there are roads like that where it's difficult to find buses and trains because there are less people traveling in that area. So in Japan, this area, a girl travels 20 kilometers from her home to school. Then at 2 o'clock, she travels school to home. Those Japanese authorities, they say that we know only one passenger is traveling, but we will keep that train traveling until she finishes her education. That is how you can recognize a developed country. That girl doesn't say, I am traveling, I can't go to school, find me a school nearby. She doesn't say that. She does her duty as a student. Japanese government and Japanese railway department do their duty as government, right? And as railway department. Feeling happy about you. Only one student is absent today, right? Every day join your classes, not only media. Join all the media classes. You have enough time to complete your notes at home. It's very difficult to do that at school. There are noises in the school. So write these notes at home. Do your duty 100%. Moving on to the visual communication. By using the eye and through visualizing and weaving collecting ideas and information is visual communication. We use our eyes for visual communication. From the primitive man to the present day, visual communication has been used for communication activity. Those days, women used yellow color stones to apply on their faces and their body to become beautiful. You learn this thing in grade 10 and 11 history subject. That is also visual communication. Men used red color because red is the color for fighting, right? When you see red color, you feel fear sometimes. So they use red color to warn others. I am a very dangerous person. They use tattoos and all. These red Indians used feathers and the skin of tigers and all. That is also visual communication. Visual communication includes signals, graphic content, drawings, colors, animations, movies, etc. The study of symbols and visual communication is called semiotics. The study of symbols and visual communication is called semiotics. In the contemporary society, with the developments in communication technology, visual communication has become very powerful. Visual communication is used very creatively and attractively in the internet, the social media, and television media. In social media, they use memes. Right? How do you pronounce this MEME on Facebook? Memes, no?
Yes, sir.
Memes. Some people tell that meme, but the real pronunciation is meme. That meme belongs to visual communication. Several factors that contribute to the development of visual communication skills are listed below. Seeing images clearly. Identifying images. When you see the image, you should be able to identify that. When you go to the washroom, you must look carefully on the door, male and female sign. Then identify that image. Using images for educational activities. We can use images for educational activities. Using visual communication elements and engaging in creative activities. We can use visual communication elements to engage in creative activities. Next topic, formal communication. Formal communication is a communication that is officially presented with responsibility. There is a responsible person in the formal communication. Formal communication is a document or a statement that is officially presented. If you present that on social media, that is not official. You have to present that in mass media, right? Newspapers, magazines, television, etc. Official reports, memos, letters printed on letterheads, gazette notification, official emails are some of the examples as written presentation for formal communication. Right can send an email to whomade. That is a personal email. That is not an official email. But the school sends us official emails, right? That is formal communication. Official written statements as well as officially made publications fall into formal communication. For an example, annual budget reports, official statements made by state leaders, official press releases of public institutions, and the statements issued by the cabinet, all of these according to a specific set of hierarchies are formal communications. There is a hierarchy. Formal communication is a formal process with a specific hierarchy. Formal communication is the most effective communication format. Right? When I write something and show you, sometimes you may not believe it. Now I have prepared some written documents. If I present that on the screen, you may not believe that that is a good note. But when I present this printed document, you believe that more than my written document, because formal communication is the most effective communication format. Formal communication is implemented in a number of steps in accordance with some kind of procedure. The official documents and publications used in formal communication can be used for citations. Citations means you take as an example. In a debate, you can say that you are having a political debate. You can say that our government has issued this gazette, this official gazette, right? You can use those gazette and all letters, formal audios, formal videos as citations. Citations means examples. Next one, informal communication. In informal communication, the source is an unrecognized communication situation. We don't know who created that. Mahadana Mutta story and other folk tales and other folk poems which belong to folk law, right? Those things we don't know who created. That is informal communication. Informal communication happens when there are no official publications or formal communications. Example, rumors, gossip, petitions. You can write a petition to principal sir against me if you don't like me, right? Without writing your name. So the communicator is in there. So that is informal communication. Informal communication publications spread rapidly. That's the nature. We don't believe Rupavahini News and ITN News. Some people believe Derana News and Hiru TV News more than Rupavahini and ITN. Some people believe Sirasa TV News more than Derana and Hiru TV. So that's the nature.